Hello, people of the swinging world. My name is Olenka. I'm a Lindy Hopper from Kyiv. Not Kiev. I've made this mistake before. I want to talk to you about an open letter of Ukrainian swing dance schools. I feel like it needs some clarification. This is a widely shared text calling international organizers to ban Russian dancers and teachers from events unless they clearly show their position against the war. There is quite a discussion around this topic on Facebook, so I decided to bring it to YouTube, for those who don't really like to read long posts and especially comments under them. Of course, I'm Ukrainian, so you can say I'm biased, but I will try to be as reasonable as possible. And if you find mistakes in my arguments, please let me know in comments. So, what is this letter? Some people in comments saw it as witch hunt, punishment, hypocrisy, jingoism even. I had to Google this word, and it is some kind of aggressive nationalism. But let's read it. We, the swing dance schools of Ukraine, ask the European and world swing schools to stop any cooperation with Russia as a state, as well as with dancers, judges, coaches, event organizers who are citizens of the Russian Federation. Suspend Russia's participation in international dance events such as festivals, camps, competitions, and cups. So, does this letter demand anything? No. It asks for solidarity with Ukraine, the country that in 21st century is suffering from a full-scale war started by another country. The letter also provides a brief summary of consequences of Russian invasion up until the beginning of May. This includes the death of two our friends, dancers who were killed in action defending their homeland. I do hope you never experience how it feels. By the way, have you heard one of the main faces of Russian state TV, Kisilev, speculating about nuclear attack on United Kingdom?
Остров столь мал, что лишь одной ракеты «Сармат» достаточно, чтобы его утопить раз и навсегда. Все уже подсчитано. Это всего лишь один пуск, Борис, а Англии нет. Раз и навсегда.
Sorry, I got distracted. So, why do we ask solidarity? Russia has destroyed the very foundation on which social dancing is standing, the joy of life, freedom and respect. That is it. Russia attacked Ukraine. Fact. It has been almost 3 months of a full-scale invasion, and this is the biggest conflict in Europe since the World War II. Fact. War and joy are mutually exclusive. Fact. Again. Whether to support this letter or not is your choice as an event organizer. But I've read comments under multiple posts, and as much as I wanted to reply immediately, and I sometimes did, I thought it could be useful to gather all the arguments in one place, here. The first counter-argument we usually get is that not all Russians are responsible for this war. And responsibility is kind of a philosophical concept. Were the Germans responsible for the Holocaust and World War II? Maybe not all of them, yet the country had to pay reparations and it was divided and ruled from outside for almost 50 years. The problem is those soldiers who come to my land, who send rockets and shoot civilians, they are not Putin. And they call themselves Russians, so I naturally have the problem with this word. So the presumption of innocence doesn't really work here. The letter has the appendix, though. It says that people who took any action against the Russian invasion should be accepted and welcomed in the community. So, not all Russians, only those who silently or openly supported the war. By the way, if you want to read the whole letter, the link will be in the description below. Also, if you don't feel like the exceptions are written well, may I remind you this is not the law, so you can support this initiative without blindly following what is written. Another frequent comment is the victimization. For example, oh yes, punish Russians for what a government they have no meaningful control over is doing because of what they think based off state-controlled media and censored internet. Most of them have little way to circumvent. Let's further isolate them, which only makes Putin happier. The purpose of this letter is not punishment. It is to make people speak up. For now, many of them have little to no motivation to gain at least any control over the government or to look anywhere further than state-owned TV and media. Our goal with this letter is not to discriminate against Russians and look at their struggle with evil laughter. Again, this is not punishment. We want people in Russia to admit that this is their war too. This one is probably one of my favorite. Are we banning citizens from countries who participated in Iraq War too? Are we banning those from China for genocide? Israel? Turkey? A classic example of whataboutism. If you're not familiar with the topic, I will leave a link in the upper corner somewhere here for a good explainer. This is a good old manipulation tactic. Just switch the topic and you are good. No war is good, but you cannot justify the wrongdoings of one person by the wrongdoings of another person. I will not compare the struggle of Ukrainians with the struggle of any other nation today and before. This just makes no sense. If you feel that any other people deserve sanctions, call for it. Look for support. This is your right. Some people say that the swing dance community is not the right place for such discussion. For example, the content of this post doesn't represent the spirit of the swing dance community, they say. The International Olympic Committee recommended that Russia be excluded from all sporting events. WRRC cancelled competitions in Russia and banned Russian athletes from performing. That is why they know how it works. So, is it okay or not okay to turn to the swing dance community with a request for sanctions? This was not an easy decision, but here is my explanation why we decided to do it. First of all, because dance and art and culture cannot be outside politics. It is not some magical world where you can hide from anything brutal. Second, we are swing dancers, so we turn to our community, the one that shares our values: acceptance, freedom of speech, movement and expression. It is not about dance heritage, I agree, but it is about the dance future. And these messages drives me nuts. I would hope that in this community that I know, that the message of peace and friendship to each other is paramount above all else. If a robber comes to your house, don't call police. Try to listen to them. This is not so one-sided. And if they start shoot at you, ask yourself, maybe you did something wrong. This is sarcasm, of course, but messages of peace are just as harmful as in the situation above. Russia has a long history of oppression and imperialism, not only regarding Ukraine. So today we are not fighting for peace, but for the world without constant fear of being attacked again. If Ukraine ceases to defend itself, we risk disappearing as a nation. This is even worse when a Russian dancer calls for peace. I hate to bring up an example, but this is an outraging one. So here is Ksenia post from April 14. I asked the universe, I do not know how to be with all of it in the real world, in the forget-land, please help me. And the universe said, love, 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 love. If you think of it out of the context, this is a beautiful post about love is the answer. But the context is Ksenia is Russian, and she posted nothing about the war that her country started. She only posted about her personal struggle and art. And she has almost 40,000 of followers. We all want to live in peace, without quarrel and aggression, be good for everyone and to everyone. But so it happens that we are already dragged into this conflict. Each and every one of us, the whole 2 nations and even the whole world, just for peace is not a position. It is an escapism, an effort to please both sides or have a positive image in the eyes of uninvolved public. Yet, Ksenia is not the subject of this letter per se, because she lives outside of Russia for quite a long time. I just needed this rant, because I still find this position unacceptable. So, back to the letter. We do not ask you to ban Russians without any explanations and laugh at their faces. We ask you to talk to them. Maybe with your help they will finally understand that this is their war as well as it is our, and they also have to make change inside their own country. We ask you to have a position and stand by it. This is how you make change. Thank you for your attention.